Remain seated, please. Permanecer sentados, por favor.
Matterhorn Matt presents Matterhorn Mondays.
Welcome everybody to episode 89 of Matterhorn Mondays. I am your host, Matterhorn Matt.
And I'm Alex the Historian.
And today we got a great episode for you guys. We're going to be going over lots of, I guess the first
Star Wars land.
Oh yeah, we're going to be talking non-stop about Star Wars land, you guys. Just kidding. I feel like they'd crucify us if we did that for like 5 weeks in a row. But anyways, trying to distract myself that it's finals week. I feel you, Mark. Well, I don't feel you, but like I know the feeling. Anyways, it's going to be a great episode, you guys. We're going to talk about the newly released Prince Ali clip from the brand new Aladdin film. And we're also going to be going over the LA Times article interview with Kim Irvine. That's going to be a lot of fun. Excited to get into that. But before we get into anything, I'd just like to say that this episode is sponsored by all of my patrons. Patreon.com/MatterhornMatt. Or if you're watching live, you can do !Patreon to get all your you can get your fix on my Patreon page. I don't know what I'm trying to say. Anyways, I've been saying this for a couple weeks, but the Patreon is going to be going under a lot of changes. It's actually going to happen. I promise you guys. I've been saying that for a few weeks, but I'm just trying to find the right art. Oh, that reminds me. I tweeted this earlier, but I feel like I have more of a reach if I'd say it here on the podcast, so I'm just going to say it here. We at the channel are looking for artists. We're looking for a lot of different kinds of artists, I guess is what I should say. So if you know, or if you are an artist, go ahead and head over to my Twitter, twitter.com/MatterhornMatt, or if you're into Instagram, instagram.com/Matterhorn.Matt. That's my username. We're looking for artists to, just draw some art for some shirts, for pins, and we're also looking for a very
rap artists.
Yeah, rap artists too. Oh my goodness.
To wrap up all the pins.
Oh, I thought you meant like...
No, I did.
Oh, okay. I told you guys it's going to be a great stream. But anyways, we're also looking for a sort of like a... I don't know the right word to call it, but we're looking for an artist to join the team that we have, Alex, Jeremy, and I. We feel like it'd be nice to have, like an artist who can help make not just like thumbnails for future Historyland videos or for other series that we have, but like promotional posters for the the videos that we put out. So if you guys know any artists, or if you guys are an artist, like I said, twitter.com/MatterhornMatt. Shoot me a DM. I'll reply to everybody, look through your profiles, and we'll pick whoever we like best. And that's kind of a big announcement. I've been meaning to announce that for a few weeks, but I just got around to it now. But anyways, if you guys are looking for more family-friendly live streams, you guys can head on over to theliveplace.com. Link is in the description below. Lots of great family-friendly live streams. Disney live streams, not just Disney as well. If you're not into that kind of stuff, why would you be listening to this show if you're not into Disney? But anyways, I don't know. No birthdays this week, sadly. But if you guys would like to be wished a happy birthday live on the show, you can submit your name and your birthday using the form in the description below. Or if you're watching live, you can do !birthday. No birthdays this week, like I said. And last but not least, you guys, you gotta head over to our iTunes account, our iTunes page, Matterhorn Mondays. Leave a review. It doesn't have to be 5 stars. It can be 5 stars if you want, but 3 stars is nice too. Head on over to podcasts.apple.com/us/podcast/Matterhorn-Mondays-ID 127-64604-8532 to leave a review.
Oh my god.
Good luck remembering that. Link is in the description. I mean, anyways. But, so let's get right on ahead with this week's Matt Snaps, got the same old mango going on. I feel like I should shake these because they've been like sitting like vertical or horizontal. Yeah, this is horizontal. They've been sitting horizontal in like a mini fridge for many weeks, maybe like 2 weeks, not like 3 months. But I just feel like I should shake it to like get the juices, all mixed up again. I don't know, but I'll just go ahead and open this for you guys. That was kind of muffled from my hand, so I apologize. But this week's real fact is number 188. Antarctica, I think we did this already. Antarctica is the driest, coldest, windiest, and highest continent on Earth. No, I don't think we did that one, but it smells good. Again, I feel like I should switch between the mugs that I use. I'll use my normal one next week, but I'm using the one that Steve got me, the Dumbo one. This has become my favorite mug to drink Snapple out of, so again, thank you to Steve if he's watching. And on that note...
I didn't know you could get a mug named after yourself.
Yeah, neither did I. Steve got it for me. He was like, hey, I named it after you, Matterhorn Matt, but I named it Dumbo instead of Matterhorn Matt. I don't...
Cause you're a Dumbo?
Mm-hmm.
Get it?
Yeah.
Okay. Just so we're clear on that, okay?
Anyways, I would also like to shout out Theme Park Wizard on YouTube, Instagram, and Twitter. He sent me this real nice button. It might be backwards. No, it's frontwards. You guys can read it. Theme Park Wizard. Head on over to his YouTube channel. I'm sure he makes great stuff. It also says Instagram and Facebook, not Twitter. Oh, it has Twitter, YouTube, Instagram, and Facebook. So shout out to Theme Park Wizard for sending me this pin. I'll display it somewhere. Maybe I'll put it like on my boom arm here next to Dumbo. I don't know.
Avery says, "You're a wizard, Matt."
You're a wizard, Matt. Oh my gosh. I told you guys, it's just humor is in everybody's veins. It's coursing through everybody's veins this episode. But anyways, we're going to get right into this week's news from the Peak.
We now present to you news from the Peak.
All right, I'm sure you guys have been waiting for this one. First bit of news from the Peak. Backdoor Disney founder Patrick Spikes has been arrested and charged with burglary, grand theft, and dealing in stolen property. Now, if you guys don't know who Backdoor Disney is, I believe we talked briefly about him, I want to say maybe 15 to 20 episodes ago, when the whole Buzzy debacle was going on. I'm sure you guys remember Buzzy, beloved animatronic, which disappeared from the Wonders of Life Pavilion a few months ago. I believe in February that was. Backdoor Disney, if you don't know who he is, he's basically just a Twitter account that posted, as you guessed, backstage photos on a Walt Disney World property, posting them to his Twitter account. And Patrick, the founder, Patrick Spikes, I feel like it's okay to say his full name since, he's been arrested and it's public. Patrick was a former Walt Disney World cast member as well, which I'm sure is one of the many ways he got access to all these backstage places. According to the Backdoor Disney Twitter, though, Patrick does not run it anymore. But I don't really know if that's true or not. But according to that, anyways, the arrest warrant I first saw on Twitter. It detailed the various items that he stole and resold, including costumes, wigs, and a tiara from animatronics in the Haunted Mansion ballroom scene. That is the Haunted Mansion in the Magic Kingdom, not in Disneyland. The warrant also includes statements from those who bought the stolen items from him, claiming that Patrick said the items were obtained from Disney with permission. So, flat out lying. Also, I'm getting all this information, WDW News Today. Links will be in the description below for all the articles we're talking about. The warrant also includes details on the missing Buzzy animatronic and his clothes, which were sold off for $8,000. So this guy made a quick, big bucks for stealing everybody's favorite animatronic and reselling it. The arrest warrant will be in the description below. Like I said, if you want to read through everything, it's a really interesting read, you guys. If you just read through everything, like Disney and the police department have been I guess, conducting this investigation for a while. I want to say maybe like 3 or 4 months at this point. It's really interesting, everything that they caught. I'm just like reading off just like the bare bones of everything. You guys have to read this this arrest warrant. And another interesting detail that is in the warrant, which I thought you guys would enjoy, is that Patrick apparently used a fake Disney ID. It says I believe it says in the warrant that I think like security cameras caught either him or his brother, I think, like making a fake ID wherever they make the IDs in Disney. The name was Jack D. Morrow. Like D is the middle initial. I can't tell if that's like some sort of joke or not. Jack D. Marrow. Marrow. I don't know if that's like a pun or anything. It looks like it, but anyways, yeah. Link to the arrest warrant will be in the description for our good friend, not good friend, Backdoor Disney. Second bit of news from the peak: Disney gains full control of Hulu via a Comcast deal. This was actually, I believe this was news last week that we did not cover. But Disney and Comcast have announced a deal which results in Disney gaining full control over Hulu beginning immediately. And it's kind of interesting. I guess Comcast is going to be paying Disney $9.2 billion. Either that or the other way around. I could have it wrong. Also, another interesting tidbit: contracts for NBC Universal will have to cancel most of their contracts with Hulu by 2022. So if you guys are fans of, like, I don't know what kind of shows NBC has on Hulu, I think is like Superstore one of them. I don't know the NBC catalog that much. Disney
what about
pays.
Malcolm in the Middle? I watched that a lot.
Is that NBC?
I don't know.
I think that's ABC? I don't know.
What? No, it's not ABC. I think it's NBC.
CBS? I don't know. I get confused with all these 3-letter TV stations, but yeah, Comcast NBC will have to cancel most of their contracts with Hulu by 2022. I guess if you're a big fan of NBC Universal's programming that's on Hulu, I'm guessing you'll be pretty outraged by this. Malcolm in the Middle is Fox, says T. Will, and it's going on Disney Plus. Are you serious? Sweet.
Oh, really? Now
That's
I have even
interesting.
more of a. You know what this means? This means I can get rid of Hulu and then just get Disney Plus.
Yeah, I mean, I only watch Bob's Burgers on Hulu, I think, so I don't even really need Hulu to begin with. But yeah, it's kind of
I hate Bob's Burgers.
Oh my gosh, guys! I need to find a new co-host. If you would like
It's
to,
gross.
if you'd like to petition to
Only
replace,
the worst people on the planet watch that.
it's true though. It's true.
I love how what I say is so insulting, but it's like so true.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not denying it. I'm not. Yeah, I guess that's what I have to say. I don't know. Anyways, moving on to our last but not least bit of news from the peak. The Tomorrowland Speedway. You guys remember the Tomorrowland Speedway in the Magic Kingdom has reopened after a lengthy refurbishment to make way for the Tron coaster in the Magic Kingdom's Tomorrowland. Now, the track was shortened, but basically unchanged. So all you Tomorrowland Speedway enthusiasts, you guys, Autopia and Disneyland's going to be gone in a few years. So we're going to have to move on from Autopia to Tomorrowland Speedway. And you guys should be glad that they kept Tomorrowland Speedway open, because it's honestly the best ride in the entire park, if you ask me. Anyways, I guess we'll move on from news from the
We
peak.
now
I
present-
did the wrong thing. There we go. All right, moving on from news from the peak. I do want to showcase. I said I'd talk about this during the article, but I feel like it's newsworthy. Disney. I don't know if you guys have seen on Twitter or not, but the castle is basically finished, you guys. If you look at this image that Disney posted, the walls are still up, at least what is today? Saturday. At least from the Saturday that we're recording this, the walls were still up. But Disney did post this image early in the morning. I guess they took all the walls down to take this picture and then put the walls back up. I don't know any other way as to how they would have gotten this image. Unless this is behind the walls.
Well, there was another wall on the other side of the castle from behind. So it looks to me like what they did was they either took the walls down and they're still down, or they just simply took this picture from behind the front wall, but then photoshopped Fantasyland from within the port hole thingy.
I guess that'd be
Portal.
easier to do than taking all the scrims down from the front and behind. But yeah, I think, this new design has been getting a lot of discussion on Twitter and everything. I think personally, it looks really good. I wasn't a fan of such dark blues, almost purple color, but it's really grown on me. And a lot of people are also pointing out the little here. I'll change this to this. A lot of people are pointing out these little stars or sparkles right on the tip right here. I'm a fan of that. I think it looks really nice. But we'll be talking more about the castle once we get into the LA Times article with Kim Irvine. Yeah, I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts on this new castle. Let's see. Honestly, don't like it that much. The stars on the roofs are a little weird. I mean, I could see how people would think that they're weird. I just personally, I think it. I don't know. I think it adds to the magic. I don't know if that's the right words to say, but anyways, we're gonna be talking about the castle later on in the show. Before that, I'd love to talk about this clip, you guys, released from the brand new Aladdin movie remake, Aladdin 2019. I'll go ahead and switch to the video itself. I probably have to cut this out of the podcast that gets posted on Monday. So I'll have the links to this and the original animated movie in the description below for you guys, because I'll probably have to end up cutting this out, because copyright. But I'm going to play this clip for you guys. And then I'm going to play the original from the animated movie Aladdin. And then I want to talk about them.
Copyright strike.
Yeah, 100%. This channel is going to be taken down. Probably not. But yeah, I'll cut this out of the official Matterhorn Mondays show that gets posted on Monday. And I'll have the links, like I said, of the clip, both the clips in the description below for you guys to watch and compare. But let's go ahead and watch this because I'm excited to talk about this. Now I'm going to play you guys the original from what year was this? 1992 is when the original Aladdin came out. I'll play that for you guys. And then we're going to compare and contrast. We're going to make a Venn diagram, you guys, of these two scenes. So I'll play this next one for you guys. Okay. I'm excited to talk about this because, let's see, let me get back to, here we go. I'll just have this very blurry image of Will Smith as the thumbnail here for you guys to look at. I think this came out on Tuesday. This was posted on Tuesday. And I'd like to go over my thoughts on the scene as a whole. And I think this scene as a whole really reflects the whole film overall. First of all, I can't even imagine remaking this iconic scene and sucking all the personality out of it, personally. Oh wait, that's exactly what they did. Because if you compare the two scenes, this new live-action scene has no, I guess the word that I just used, no personality to it in the original. And I do have to say right off the bat, the problem for me is not Will Smith. I think Will Smith is fine. He's trying his best to make the genie, his own character, separate from what Robin Williams did. His own interpretation of the character, which is fine. You can't replace Robin Williams. You can't use the same voiceover from the original movie. That'd be weird. You got to bring someone new in to, have like a fresh take on the character. The problem for me is basically everything else. The cinematography is flat and bland. The characters look bored almost. I don't even. If you. You just have to. You watch it and you'll see. Compared to the original, everything in the original is so energetic and more vibrant. And like I said, a lot of people will think that Will Smith is the problem. For me, it's not personally the problem. I do, enjoy Will Smith. It is kind of weird, though, to have like a hip-hop beat in the background, though, of this, like, what is this, like Indian? Is this in India? I think this is in like Egypt, maybe? I don't know. But yeah, this is like a prime example of why animation does not translate to live action, especially if you do it in this way. I mean, if you look at it from the perspective of the producers, sure, the set design is amazing, the costume design is amazing as well. I mean, look at all the detail that they put into this one, this one scene from the movie. It's amazing. The costumes are really, Middle East, I guess. Okay. Agrabah. Is Agrabah a real place? Anyways.
No, it's not.
Okay. I thought it was... Not gonna lie, I thought it was real up until you said no. Anyways.
Oh my god.
I'm not that familiar with that part of the world.
Can we get a boo in chat?
But yeah, if you look at it from the perspective of the director, the producers, the set design, amazing. Prop design, amazing. Costume design, amazing. But just because you have amazing costumes, amazing sets and props, that does not automatically translate to quality of the film. Do you guys know what I'm trying to say? In the original, there's so many more... No? Okay, well... it's hard for me to articulate the words I'm trying to say. But in the original, there's a lot of little character moments, with the genie interacting with all the people in the crowd. This one, Will Smith is just standing still on the podium getting carried. Sure, he goes like that, and he says, "Whoa, yeah," a bunch of times in the background. But, someone on Twitter said it looks like a Trivago commercial, or like a what did they, like, you guys know, like one of those travel sites commercials. Aladdin, Trivago. Anyways, Alex, what are your thoughts on this new clip of from the new Aladdin, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
Well, to be honest, I never really liked the original Aladdin all that much.
No, yeah, I should point that out too. I'm not that big of a fan of the original as well. I mean, it's good, but I'm not that big of a fan of it. But continue.
Yeah, I mean, it's good. I just didn't feel like it was the best of the Renaissance movies. Like, it was okay, but I mean, you know what? It's one of those movies where you watch it once. Well, for me at least, it's one of those movies where I watch it once and I don't watch it ever again. But anyway, The point is that when I saw this clip of the new Aladdin scene, I was kind of like, all right, well, this definitely, it's different. I'm not going to say it's worse than the original scene, only because this scene has other things the original doesn't. This scene is more colorful than the original. This scene has a much more elaborate background. I'm not going to say set, because obviously the other one was animated, so it's not a set, but this one has a much more elaborate background. And I mean, but there are trade-offs. So for instance, like, Will Smith singing. Will Smith was good for rap, but he's not very good for, like, singing this. And I don't know, like, what am I trying to say here? I guess what I'm trying to say here is I didn't like either scene. So to me, there really wasn't much of a difference.
Okay. Well, that's interesting. Yeah, like Alex said, I'm not a huge fan of the original movie. I think Beauty and the Beast is better. I think The Little Mermaid is better. Little Mermaid's one of my favorite Disney movies. But yeah, I guess that's basically my thoughts on this new clip from Aladdin. I know a lot of people will agree. a lot of people who saw this clip will definitely agree, because there's a... How many dislikes does this have? This has almost 2,000 dislikes compared to 5.3 thousand upvotes. It's fun. If you read the comments, hilarious. This is why Aladdin was animated. Everybody put the speed at 1.25. Trust me, trust me, and you're welcome. But yeah, anyways.
We should try that.
Should I try that? Okay. I might get copyright claimed again, but we'll see. All right, here we go. I'll put it at... Wait. Speed. I don't want to play the whole thing, but anyways, you guys get the gist of it. Yeah. I feel like at this point we sound like a broken record talking about these live action movies. We pray. I praise the live action movies who try and do something new. Mm-hmm. Like Dumbo tried to do something new with try to expand the story of Dumbo. I think Beauty and the Beast to some extent did as well. I haven't seen Cinderella, but to my knowledge that did brought something new to the table. What was the Jungle Book did not. I don't think it's basically not necessarily shot for shot, but
you know what I think the new Dumbo movie was missing? Some singing crows.
I'm
totally kidding. I
was gonna say I could go on for. If Alex wants to go there, I could talk for a long time about the live action Dumbo compared to the original. But we did that already. It's in the past. But like I was saying, I praise those movies for trying something new. Can you guys see my face? Is it just this screen?
It's just the screen.
Oh, there we go. Sorry, everybody. But just because you bring something new and it's not good, like the new Dumbo, the new scenes that with like the family, what's that guy with the missing arm, the little girl, just not good movie making. The acting was flat. The story made no sense after after they finished with the original Dumbo story, and they were like, "Holy crap, this movie's only 30 minutes long. We gotta write 20 more pages of script to fill a 2-hour runtime." Yeah, like I said, just because you add something new to the films, which is what we want with these live action remakes, and the new parts aren't good, that does not automatically get thumbs up from me. And with this new Aladdin, it looks like it's gonna be basically a shot-for-shot remake, just like Beauty and the Beast was, just like the Jungle Book was, just like how probably what's that other one coming out, The Lion King is going to be. But that might be all I have to say on that. I don't know. Like I said, we probably sound like a broken record at this point. But I felt like it'd be nice to highlight this and use it as an example. Future filmmakers, if you're watching this, probably not. Don't do that. I mean, like I said, everything else is great about this. The props, the costume design is really amazing. The set. I think I watched a behind the scenes like sort of clip where they built like a whole almost city type set for Agrabah, and like it looks really detailed, which is awesome. But just because you build all those fancy sets doesn't mean the movie's gonna be good. All right. Anyways, I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts in the comments down below about this clip. To show the difference, started over at 1.25 speed. Yeah. Okay. Anyways. Moving on to the LA Times article interview with Kim Irvine. Very excited to talk about this. I didn't know who Kim Irvine was before this article was published.
Excuse me?
I mean, yeah. You guys can boo me in the comments and in the chat. Maleficent and Alice in Wonderland are another good examples of trying something new, but that new wasn't necessarily good. I completely forgot about the new Maleficent trailer they released. We'll talk about that next week. Anyways, back to this, because I don't think you guys would like to hear us rant on about that anymore. This is link will be in the description of this article. Like I said, yeah, I didn't know who Kim Irvine was before I read this article. Now I do. So yeah, we're gonna sort of go through this article. Bryce says he still doesn't know who she is. Well, you'll know by the end of this episode. Christian doesn't as well. Yeah, we'll sort of go through this article and then we'll pause at different moments and give our thoughts on everything. I guess the title.
By the way,
yes.
Just to add this and brag. So my friend has a friend who is Kim Irvine's daughter.
Ooh. Have you gotten her autograph yet?
Nope, but I got connections, so I know if I ever want to install a ride at Disneyland, all I have to do is ask Auntie Kim.
Auntie Kim. Yeah, she does kind of look like an ant. Anyways.
She does, huh?
Yeah, we'll sort of go through this article. Title of the article is, quote, "For more than 4 decades, Kim Irvine has helped steer the Disneyland legacy," end quote. For those of you guys who don't know who Kim Irvine is, her mother is Leota Toombs. Is that how it's said? Toombs? Toms?
Yes.
Toombs, okay. If you don't know who she is, she played Madame Leota, Maleficent, and many more. I think she was Cruella de Vil as well.
What? What are you talking about?
Am I wrong? Did she not play Cruella de Vil?
No, you're thinking of the voices. The voices of Madame Leota, Cruella de... No, I'm sorry. The voices for Madame Leota, Maleficent, and Lady Tremaine was Eleanor Audley. But the face of Madame Leota was Leota Toombs, the Imagineer.
Okay.
You're also probably thinking of the woman who currently does the voices of Maleficent, Lady Tremaine, Cruella de Vil, and Madame Leota is another woman. I forget her name at the moment, but she's the woman that currently does the voices.
Okay. Well, I was mistaken then. Okay. Now I know, but anyways. Leota Toombs was one of the very first women to work for Wet Enterprises, so that's a pretty interesting fact. Kim Irvine is the art director at Imagineering and, quote, "led a team in Anaheim responsible for maintaining the look, tone, and feel of Walt's original park," end quote. So we have a lot to thank Kim Irvine for. Another one of her projects was when they shortened the river to make way for Star Wars Land. She was sort of the person who made it look as beautiful as it does. In my opinion, even more beautiful than how it was before. Let's see. Yeah, so we'll just go through this article, pause at certain points, give our thoughts on things that she says, things that happens in the article. Okay, here we go. Quote, "As Disneyland readies itself for its future, Irvine stands as a connection to the park's beginnings. Her mission is to ensure that the company does not forget its past. That's evident in her current and arguably most personal project to repair and refurbish Disneyland's centerpiece, Sleeping Beauty Castle." So yeah, she's sort of the backbone of redoing Sleeping Beauty's castle. So we have her to thank for those lovely sparkles that are on the castle now. Quote, "When people come to Disneyland, they want it to be more fantastical," she says, repeating a lesson passed down to her from John Hench, one of the park's original designers, who would routinely tell Irvine to, quote, "push the color." I know Jeremy sort of praised her for quoting John Hench, because I believe John Hench is Jeremy's favorite Imagineer. Let's see, here we go. Quote, "They want us to do things and use things that you wouldn't see when you're walking down the main street of your town," she says. "This has got to be sweeter and more fantasy, so I keep that in mind. I'm not afraid of color at all. 99% of people are really afraid to use color in their decorating or even buying a car. It's black or white. it doesn't scare me to do this. She goes on to say that she's, quote, afraid of the reaction people are going to have when talking about the new stars added to Sleeping Beauty Castle. So we'll pause there. We can talk about the castle, because we just briefly went over it at the very beginning. In my opinion, I feel like this castle, the new color palette, I do like the sparkles, for those of you guys who don't like the sparkles. I do think that this is a big step up from how it used to look, especially from how it looked after they took the 60th anniversary decorations off. I wasn't really a fan of those like lighter sky blue, almost color that they had. I said at the beginning that I wasn't a big fan of the dark blues that they added, but it's grown on me more, and I do like it more than how it was originally done. But Alex, since we're talking about the castle, what are your thoughts on the brand new color palette? Did I already ask you that? I don't think I did yet.
No.
Okay, so Alex, what are your thoughts on
that?
Not
on the live stream. And yeah. So the castle, I really, 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 really love it. And the reason why is because I always felt that the castle needed to look like bright and colorful. Well, not bright, but vibrantly colorful. I always, when they did the 50th anniversary repaint of the castle back in 2005, I loved it. I thought it was so vibrant and so wonderful. And compared to its previous paint jobs and stuff like that. Of course, back then I would have never been able to imagine the castle looking the way it does right now. And I would have never realized that I would have loved it even much more today. But back then I loved it. I loved that they used the... excuse me, I just yawned in the middle of conversation. So I loved that. Well, okay, so this goes for the 50th design and this one. I love the more vibrant pinks. I'm not going to say hot pink because that's not really what it is, but I do like the more vibrant pinks. I like that different sections of the castle today have different colors of pink.
Yeah.
As well as I like the rooftops a lot. Now, I'm so used to the rooftops either looking that weird blue from before 2005, but I am also used to them looking almost teal colored from the 50th anniversary, which actually got faded. It was more blue, but it got so faded, and they never repainted the rooftops even during the 60th. So the fact that this is so vibrantly blue, I don't know, I just love it so much. Now, the one gripe that I have about it, and there's only one, because everything else I love. I have nothing but nice things to say about this. The one gripe that I have about the new paint job is that the two tallest spires of the castle have a much lighter blue than the rest. Now, I know why. A lot of people are going to tell me, well, Alex, it's because those are supposed to be more faded colors, more brighter, not brighter, but more pastel, because it's supposed to be forced perspective. Like, it's very far away because it's high up. So it's supposed to be like you're looking through the haze in the air. You know, kind of the same way with Galaxy's Edge. They have spires that are painted in lighter colors further back to simulate the haze in the sky. So, yes, I understand.
Or
that
the haze in Los Angeles.
Yeah, that's smog. But okay, so
dang it. Anyways,
there's a difference, Matt. Well, you see, Matt comes from a place where there is no smog, so that's really interesting.
My lungs are fine, you guys.
His lungs are fine. There are times here that, you know what? Let's not get into smog. So what was I going to say? So the reason why I'm bothered by those two spires having lighter paint jobs, including the pinks on the walls or even a lighter tone of pink, is because even with a really tall castle, you don't see the haze in the sky messing with the color that comes back to your eyes. You know what I mean? It's not that far away, even on the biggest castles of the planet. So it just the necessity to simulate haze in the sky by making those two towers a little bit more pastel colored, it just kind of bothers me a little bit. It should all be, you know, the same paint job. I'm not going to say the same color because that might make people think that I think it should all be the same color. It should be the same paint job. So anyway, besides that, I love the rest of it. Now, some people are really divided on the golden pixie dust sparkles. Now, my point of view on the pixie dust sparkles is, was it necessary? No, but neither was having gold on, on the tops of the spires, but Walt insisted they be gold. They were originally going to be bronze, and that would have looked just as nice, but gold looks even better. And so anyway, so these sparkles, they look really nice, and in person they're not that bad. I mean, they're on camera, they can be a bit much. It's hard to really get a feel for them, but in person they look nice, they look tasteful, and honestly it kind of reminds me of like a starry night sky. And let me add, it makes the castle look more magical. And so, like I've been saying in my vlog, which people will probably see later on, people will say, well, the castle doesn't look realistic though. And to me, that's fine, because the castle was never meant to look realistic. Walt Disney never said, I want a realistic looking castle. In fact, the first thing he told them was, my castle has to look like no other castle on the planet. It has to look like something out of a fairy tale. And and it never has looked like a fairy tale in the past. I mean, I wanted to quote something from that LA Times article. I don't know if Matt wants me to say it, because I don't know if he had plans to say it. Okay, so in the LA Times article, Kim Irvine said that when she first started in Imagineering back in the mid-'70s, her mentor was John Hench himself. And John Hench used to pass by the castle and say, ugh, we need to change that color scheme. Some architect made that color scheme, not one of us.
Yeah.
So when I hear people tell me like, oh, well, I love the original color scheme, that's original Disneyland, I'm thinking in my head, true, but that's not the way the artists wanted it to look. And I actually already knew that before I read the article, but I finally had a quote to back myself up. So I'm using the quote now, guys. But anyway, yes. So my opinions on the castle, I love it. I love the color scheme. I was a little afraid at first about how the bricks were going to look, but the bricks look really nice.
Yeah, me too.
And they got rid of most of the 50th anniversary gold, but there is still some 50th anniversary gold left. May I direct your attention? So you see this the center windows in the center part of the castle? On either side of those windows is a little turret, and at the base of there's like a little slit in the turret where like people could shoot arrows out. But if you look just beneath the slit on the turret, there is these gold, like weaved looking plates that surround the bottom edge of the turret. And those are from the 50th anniversary. Those are not original Disneyland's castle. So those were kept, which I thought was interesting. And I'm not against it. They look nice. And it looks like they put new gold leafing on them, so they're bright and gold again, not worn out. But it's interesting that they decided to keep that. Like, it was almost like, oh, this is from 2005 and it's been up here since, and let's keep it. So yeah. Yeah, Matt, what are your thoughts?
No, yeah, I really do like it a lot. Like I said, I was sort of iffy with the darker shade of blue. But I guess Disney, the castle's had such lighter shades in the past. I guess it's just time for it to go a darker blue. I don't know. I do really like the sort of gold outline right here, where the drawbridge would come up, like where you enter the castle. It's sort of more gold than I guess like brown, bronze-ish like it used to be. I really do like that as well. Yeah, I mean, and you can hardly even notice the sparkles, in my opinion, if you're like not. I mean, if you're my dad who can't see very well, he probably wouldn't even notice that there'd be sparkles, if we like saw it in person. Yeah, it's like I don't know. I feel like it'd be a nice touch when people take their pictures in front of the castle, and they may not have noticed the sparkles at first in person, and they look on the picture and they're like, "Oh my gosh, there's sparkles on the castle." And yeah, anyways.
What's really cool is in person, the whole castle glistens in the sunlight.
Really?
It's like a piece of jewelry. It's really beautiful.
Yeah, I can't wait to take a picture in front of it, see it in real life. But yeah, anyways, back to the article. I'm gonna quote again from the article. Quote. Am I pronouncing her last name right? Is it Irvine? Irvine? It's Irvine, right?
It's Irvine.
Okay, I don't know why I doubted myself. Okay, quote, Irvine's role requires a certain fearlessness, even with a seemingly mundane assignment, such as spending the better part of the last few months overseeing a project to widen paths and create more breathing room for the rush of crowds expected for Galaxy's Edge, can be fraught when one considers that the Disneyland fanbase can react to the removal of a bench as if Sleeping Beauty's castle has been replaced by Avengers Tower, end quote. I feel like that was a interesting sort of analogy. Fans once called her for firing after Disney. I wrote something wrong.
No, they wrote it wrong. They meant to say called her out, but they left the word out.
Oh, okay. I thought I was having a stroke. Jeez.
No, me too. I was reading the article and I was like, wait a minute.
Okay, well, that's good to know. Anyways, fans once called her out for inserting. I still think I wrote this wrong. Fans once called her out for adding Disney characters to It's a Small World, an event that's still traumatic to her to talk about. After all, one of Irvine's first Imagineering jobs was working on Small World with principal designer Mary Blair, someone she considers an idol on the Walt Disney World version of the attraction. So that's really neat. She got to work with, the Mary Blair for the Small World in the Magic Kingdom. She says that period of her career was, quote, horrible, and goes on to say, quote, I go through it a lot. We have a fan base that is so vocal about what they think is right or wrong for their heart, and I've been putting up with that my entire career down here, which is almost 45 years. So, like the article said, she was sort of the one responsible for adding the Disney characters to Small World, which, I could see why people would be mad at that.
Well, to be fair, it's not like it was her idea.
Mm-hmm.
The company sends her a note and it says, we have a new project for you.
Yeah.
We want you to put Disney characters in Small World. And it's her job to turn a horrible idea into something nice.
Mm-hmm.
And so yeah, like she had to work with an idea that she probably would have never wanted to do in the first place. I mean, why would anyone want to do that? Really think about it. Like, she worked with Mary Blair herself. Her mentor was John Hench. She was good friends with Marty Sklar and I'm drawing a blank. The other guy who designed Haunted Mansion, Raleigh Crump. So it's like she was trained by the original, and she probably knows the importance of not wanting to mess around with their work. So, anyway, the point I'm trying to make here is the article goes on to say that people were calling for her to be fired for that and stuff like that. And I felt like, I remember in 2009 when they announced they were adding the Disney characters to It's a Small World. And my reaction was, Well, we don't need it, but it's not the worst idea in the world. And if it means, if it means getting more people to come into the ride and keep the ride alive for longer, then I'm all for it. Now, again, I was a little skeptical of the way it would look, but when I went in there and rode the ride, I felt like, wow, these characters were integrated so seamlessly. It's almost as if they were always here.
Yeah.
And that's how I felt. I was not one of the Disney fans who wanted to get her fired. If anything, I wanted to say, wow, good job for turning something potentially horrible into something pretty decent,
Yeah, no, I agree. I feel like it's tastefully done. Which this is really off topic, but I saw a tweet the other day of like one of those Disney surveys that they like email to like people who visit the parks. And the question on the survey was, would you ride It's a Small World if you ever came back? Again, if you ever came back to Disneyland. Like the answers were yes, no, maybe, probably. And that sort of got me worried. It's really off topic, but I felt, Al, we were talking about Small World, so.
No, yeah, when you read those questions on the Disney Park survey, it's a little scary because it's like, okay, like back before, I want to say before 2015, when Disney was thinking of ideas for building a Star Wars land, I was doing one of the surveys, and one of the questions on there was would you visit Tomorrowland if it were completely rebuilt into Star Wars? And my immediate answer was no. Because I do not want to see one of the original lands being torn out and removed in favor of some movie or set of movies that will eventually pass in time. Tomorrowland is a timeless idea. And granted, it's not executed in a timeless manner, but it's a timeless idea. Same thing with Frontierland and Fantasyland. Those are things that don't have to die. But Star Wars, one day, there will be no more Star Wars fans. It will happen. There is a time for everything. But I feel like there will always be, a need for a view into the future, a need for a view into the storybook fantasy, and so on and so forth. So what were we talking about again? So yeah, Kim Irvine, great woman.
Yeah. So, but if you guys ever like happen upon that question in one of those surveys, please vote yes, that you'll visit Small World. Because like I was thinking about in the back of my head, what could they replace Small World with if they tore it down? Maybe like Beauty and the Beast or like Frozen. God, off topic, like I said, but I felt like it was worth mentioning because we were talking about Small World. But anyways, in 1979, when Irvine, under the direction of Hench, sought to open the first Imagineering office in Anaheim, the park was lucky, she says, to attract 35,000 people in a day. It was, she adds, quote, kind of neglected, unquote, as Imagineering and corporate interests had spent the previous decade focusing on the creation of Florida's Walt Disney World. She's responsible for helping bring new life to Fantasyland in the 70s, bringing Star Wars and Indiana Jones to the park, with Star Tours and the Indiana Jones Adventure. And like I said, shortening the river to make way for Galaxy's Edge and somehow making it more beautiful than how it was before. So there's another part of that quote I thought. I guess I didn't include it. But yeah, it's interesting that it says when she was working there in the late 70s to early 80s, how just dead the park was. 35,000 people in a day. Am I saying it right? 35,000. Yeah, that's right.
No, you're right. The park was designed in 1955 to hold 17,000 people. And then around the 70s, the park had a capacity of around 60,000, but only had it was probably a capacity of nearly 70,000. But yeah, only garnered about 35,000 guests in a day.
And there's
which is very slow, by the way, because when I was a busboy, we would check the park projected attendance for the day just to see how busy we might be. And if it was below a 45,000 person day, we'd say, "Oh, this is going to be a slow day." So 35 is even slower.
Yeah, I found the rest of that quote. Today, park attendance of 65,000 is a normal day, Irvine says. That's not even like a peak day. That's a normal day. 65,000 people. So the work that she helped do, along with all the other Imagineers around her, to bring up 35,000 people a day to 65,000 people a day, in under maybe like 10 to 15 years. I don't know. I think maybe 10 years. That's really astonishing to think about. Like I said, she was responsible for the Fantasyland in the 70s, Star Tours, Indiana Jones Adventure, shortening the river to make way for Galaxy's Edge. But yeah, let's continue on.
Oh, and wait, before you continue, just because I have information that you might like to hear. So, Matt was just saying that Kim was in charge of opening the Imagineering offices at Disneyland, because before it was just at Burbank and Glendale. There wasn't anything at Disneyland, but she opened the ones at Disneyland, and it's actually kind of cool because the ones in Disneyland were there even through the 60th anniversary. And I remember I actually got to see what Sleeping Beauty Castle would look like even before they installed the 60th anniversary overlay, because when I worked at New Orleans Square, we had a Castleberg Cafe behind Pirates of the Caribbean over where the tram route is. And I'd have to leave New Orleans Square and walk that way. And when you pass by the Indiana Jones building, there was a huge set of portable buildings, and that was the Imagineering offices for Disneyland. And what was really cool was I peeked in through one of the windows, and there was a huge model of Sleeping Beauty Castle with the 60th overlay on it. And I was like, oh my gosh, that's what it's going to look like. And then lo and behold, a few months later, they installed it, and that's what it looked like.
Gosh, Alex is just bragging to us
special
now.
I know. You know what else? There was other really cool things too. Like sometimes you would just look in through the window and there were like models of rides and things in there. It was really cool.
Gosh. Alex just bragging and just kidding.
There was even a prop. I'm trying to think. There was a prop in the lobby of the building, and I'm trying to remember what it was. It was from one of the rides, and I can't remember for the life of me what it was.
Was it Rise of the Resistance?
No, it was for an old Disneyland ride. Who are you?
Anyways, we'll continue with the article, which the article will be linked in the description down below for you guys to read along, or if you want to read the whole thing, because we are just sort of taking bits and pieces out of it to talk about. There's a lot more in here that we're not going to get to cover. Quote, Irvine is emphasizing bright pink and darker blues, an illustration of Sleeping Beauty artist Ivan Durrell sprung to life, and a way to make the original designs of Herb Ryman pop. It's a luminous and animation-friendly color palette, designed to more overtly look like something out of a storybook. It's Irvine's statement piece, a reiteration that Disneyland must remain a place where fairy tales can flourish. I want to stop there for a second, because that end quote, it's Irvine's statement piece, a reiteration that Disneyland must remain a place where fairy tales can flourish. That's like, you wouldn't hear any other Imagineer nowadays talk like that. You wouldn't hear Bald Chapek say that. I mean, he'd read it off of like a prompt, but he wouldn't mean it. Like I said, I didn't know who Kim Irvine was before this, but reading through all the things that she said about helping preserve Disneyland for the next generations of guests, to help keep it the way Walt wanted it to be. Why isn't she higher up in the company? Why doesn't she, I don't know, run Imagineering?
Well-
Because I feel like everywhere in Disneyland and California Adventure 2 could use the heart that she puts into her work.
Yeah, but the thing is like, it's being head of Imagineering is not like it used to be. Like you're no longer like your job title as head of Imagineering is chief creative development, you know,
Mm-hmm.
or stuff like that. And the thing is it's a misnomer because
Yeah.
your job is very executive. Your job is now paperwork, computers, and meetings. There's no longer any creative aspect left in being, the president of Walt Disney Imagineering. And I'm pretty sure that Kim, being how creative she is and how much she wants to, really pick up a pencil and draw, it's I imagine that she doesn't want to be the president of Imagineering. Imagine that she is right exactly where she wants to be, the head of the art department, the most creative position of all.
Yeah, no, that's a good point.
Thank you.
Maybe she should start an uprising from within to take down the Bobs. I can't believe
Take
you're
down the
listening.
Bobs. She's quite powerful.
Yeah, I mean, she looks like she could, chokehold Bob Chapek and just like slap him across the face and be like, "Take Pixar Pier out," and just keep slapping him until he says yes. Continuing on, though. I don't know where that came from.
I don't really know what to say to that. This
Anyways.
is, after all, a Disney podcast.
Let's jump Bob Chapek. You guys can. I'll just hold him down for you guys. Just kidding.
We need to beat up Bob Chapek. We need to get him out of there.
We're not promoting violence. We're just.
Oh no, yeah, no. We're blue skying the idea.
Yeah, we're blue skying the idea of jumping Bob Chapek. I'm not condoning violence, but I can't wink, so I have to like say wink. Anyways, quote, though Irving isn't ready to retire yet, she knows the day isn't far off. She repeatedly says her primary job today is mentoring her team, sharing the quote-unquote tribal knowledge passed down from her mother, Hench, her father, Disney animator Harvey Toombs, and her one-time father-in-law, Richard Irvine, who led Imagineering after Walt's death in 1966. She says, quote, it's not enough to know what kind of tree sits somewhere in the park. She wants her Imagineers to know every tree's history. She gives an example. Quote, that one was moved from downtown LA to make way for the freeway, just as a hypothetical example. When asked whether there's anything she's touched that hasn't been mentioned, instead of singling out a project or highlighting a fellow Imagineer, she stops to offer an apology. This is interesting as well. In 2014, Irvine was tasked with expanding and remodeling the costly members-only Club 33. As part of that change, a quiet, serene, and elegantly designed alcove in New Orleans Square, the Court of Angels was closed off to regular guests. It was a move viewed by regulars as Disney catering to big spenders, forgetting that ordinary park-goers need a place to sit and relax, or even sit away from noisy and cheering crowds. And then she says, quote, there's always been a part of me that felt badly about making it that way, or taking that away. Taking away that Angel's Courtyard from our guests was really hard. It was a decision that was made, and I just had to try and make the best of it with the design of the doors and everything. That is something we try to never ever do, to take a place that was theirs and turn it into something they can no longer go to. Irvine says they're working on a compromise and that they're not ready to discuss it yet, but she says, quote, we're working on something right now. So I remember when they closed off Court of Angels, Diz Twitter sort of went wild that day. I don't think I ever visited it personally, but if you look at, pictures, it's a real nice, little beautiful, like back alley of a
I used
New
to
Orleans Square.
Yeah, I used to go there a lot because it was a quiet little retreat from the rest of the park, and it was really nice. And Nate just asked, Court of Angels coming back? No, it's not. Trust me, Court of Angels is not coming back. But whatever this compromise is will be interesting to see.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I was really angry when Disney took away the Court of Angels. And again, it's not Kim's fault. She's given a task.
Yeah.
The task is, we're closing the Court of Angels. You need to redesign it. So it's not up to her. But the thing, too, is that I also tried not to blame Disney too much, because there was a very good reason for taking away the Court of Angels. Club 33 was no longer ADA compliant. People in wheelchairs were not able to get up there. And the only way they could do it was to go through the kitchen and then take an elevator from there. And that just wasn't up to health code. Health department has a big problem with that. So they had to build a brand new elevator. And the only space they had to do that was in the Court of Angels.
Mm-hmm.
And so right now, the Court of Angels has a custom built elevator. As a matter of fact, if you walk into the Le Baton Rouge shop, the very back wall, which used to be a door into the Court of Angels, is now the elevator. So yeah, and the little French elevator that they used to have in the original Club 33 lobby was not ADA compliant. So they had to take away the Court of Angels, but hopefully, with this compromise she mentioned, hopefully it's something that is comparable.
Yeah. Well, I guess we'll see. She doesn't really put a timestamp on that. Said she's not ready to share it. But continuing on, Irvine says of business decisions that don't feel right to her, she believes she can find a middle ground by reasoning. She says, quote, I understand what you're trying to get, but that doesn't fit our story. We have to stay within the original intent. That was always Hench's mantra, she says. You can change things, update things, make things more relevant, but always with the original intent. And then this is the end quote that she gives. Quote, don't forget those stories. Those are all laid out in front of you. It's so simple, really. End quote. And like we said, we didn't include the entire article, because if we did, we'd be here for like 3 hours talking about it. So the full article will be in the description below for you guys to read along, like I said, or if you just want the other pieces that we left out. I also paraphrased a large portion of these, just because, reading off of an article is
we also
boring.
Inserted our own stories, our own points of view.
Yeah.
Changed the writing almost entirely. So.
Yeah. So you're going to want to go to the original article to read the...
Yeah, because we just faked the whole thing. So. No, but yeah. It was a good article. It was a really good article.
Yeah, this is almost on like the level of the one Raleigh Cromp did a while back that we covered. Anyways, I like to, discuss the article as a whole. Now, I know on this show, we're always here complaining about the individuals who lead the company and the parks division and Imagineering, calling them words like bland or greedy. I mean, even last week I was bashing Imagineering about possibly duplicating the Spider-Man Midway Mania style attraction to DCA. This podcast is just full of positive words to say about the higher-ups of the Walt Disney Company. I feel bad, I really do, but when I said this at the beginning, I didn't know who this lady was before reading this article, and now I almost feel like I owe her an apology, because I've been saying all these bad things about Imagineering, the things that they've done the past few years, past few decades even. But from what I've seen, from what I've gathered from this article, she seems like the only person in Imagineering with a brain, almost, who wants to help preserve Walt's park, who wants to help preserve the magic that Walt wanted when people walked into the park. And I mean, sure, you can single out other people who I don't necessarily know, but yeah.
A decade ago, there were a handful of people who I called them, fighters, people who were fighting to keep the original Disneyland still around. The important stuff, the stuff that we should cherish and keep for posterity. And that would be people like Marty Sklar, Kim Irvine, and even Tony Baxter.
Mm-hmm.
And there were a few more, but as far as I know, those people besides Kim have either retired or passed away.
Mm-hmm.
And Kim is the only person that I can think of that's left in Imagineering who is as high up as she is, who is still fighting for the original Disneyland.
Yeah.
So we really should be thanking her for being one of the last people who is still trying to keep the parts of Disneyland that we cherish and love, still a part of it. Because the problem with modern Disney is that, granted, they are very creative, but the problem is that they're so excited about the new creative ideas that they have that they don't really give second thought into what they're destroying to make way for it. There's things that Imagineering used to do to compromise. They used to put a nod to former attractions in the new attractions that they do. But quite often those nods have been getting smaller and smaller to the point where it's barely a passing glance. So it's just kind of like, so we really should appreciate Kim and the fact that, we should appreciate every minute that she's still there fighting for the Disneyland that we love.
Yeah, and it gave me hope when she said that she was more focused on training the people under her to follow the same philosophy that she follows, who she learned from the other greats like John Hench and Walt himself. Doof brought up Joe Rohde. Joe Rohde, he's excluded from this, but yeah, go ahead.
In certain ways, yeah, you know what? Joe Rohde, I don't think he's been fighting for Disneyland. He's been fighting for Walt Disney World, but not Disneyland.
Mm-hmm.
But yes. So Kim, if you really think about it, is kind of the last connection there is to the original Imagineers, because she worked with them. Like in the article, like it talks about how how she was kind of considered like the kid that was working there. And how like she was amongst all these original Imagineers, all these great Imagineers, and everybody knew her and she was part of the team. It's just that she was far younger than all of them.
Mm-hmm.
So in a way, she is part of the original team,
Yeah.
And she's like the last one.
Yeah, I don't know. I want to meet her. I want to get a picture with her. Frame it.
Me too.
I don't know if she ever takes visits, like personal visits to the park, but if she does, Kim, if you're watching, you got to come to the next meetup. I mean, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Anyways, yeah, really great article. I suggest you guys go out and read it because, like I said, we paraphrased a lot of it. Not a lot of what was in the article is what we included to talk about. Yeah, hashtag thank you, Kim. Go tweet that, or just type it in chat or in the comments, whatever you guys want. So yeah, thanks, Kim, for helping preserve what so many other Imagineers are trying to destroy.
And think about it this way. So remember how I was saying that it's not her fault that these things like Court of Angels has been changed or Small World. This came from the higher ups who tell her what to do.
Mm-hmm.
And now think about it this way. It's a Small World, Court of Angels, and a bunch of other things were going to change whether or not she was there. So who would you rather have in charge of those projects? Someone who, doesn't give a mouse's butt about the history and the posterity, or someone like her who wants to preserve it?
Yeah, that's a good point to bring up.
That way, people. You just think about it.
Yeah. Thank you, Kim. I really want to meet her. Hopefully one day.
Maybe I can set that up for you.
Oh, yeah. Do you think you can have her come fly out to New Mexico and meet with me?
You're flying out here, buddy.
Okay, I guess that's fair. But anyways, that's it for this episode. I've been sitting on a couple Matt Hosts Ghosts episode or stories, but we'll save those for next week. I apologize to those who wrote them last week, and I didn't read them last week. And again this week, we do have maybe we can get her on the podcast. I wonder if she has like a business email that we can contact her at. I'll look into that. It's probably like a long shot, but
KimPossible@Disney.com.
Kim. Yeah. Yeah. Anyways, yeah, I'll try and look into that. It's probably a real long shot, but it's worth a try. But yeah, I apologize for all the people who wrote Matt Hosts Ghost stories that we skipped last week and this week. I'll get to them next week, I promise. It's just been sort of hectic these past couple of weekends. Oh my gosh, I'm not lying. I swear. Good luck on your.
Built on a river of lies.
Good luck on your trip, T. Will. He said earlier he's heading to study abroad in Japan. So good luck to T. Will. What else was I gonna say? Oh yeah, can we get an F in chat for Grumpy Cat, you guys?
Wait,
Grumpy
what
Cat,
happened?
he died.
What?
Yeah, Grumpy Cat, everyone's favorite 2005 meme, sadly passed away this past week. So everybody in chat, everybody in the comments, F for Grumpy Cat, and L. Also, the voice for for Barnacle Boy in SpongeBob passed as well. So double F in chat. But anyways, thank you guys for coming out to this episode of Matterhorn Mondays. We appreciate every single one of you, even those who don't type in chat, even those who don't comment in the comments when the video's posted. We'll have all the links in the description like we normally do. Steve, what did I miss? LOL. Steve, we're doing the outro, man. You missed the whole thing. So yeah, we'd love to hear all your thoughts on every topic we talked about, whether it's Backdoor Disney getting arrested. I was trying to think of something funny to say. Backdoor Disney getting arrested, the new Aladdin clip, your thoughts on Aladdin as a whole, and your thoughts on this LA Times article featuring Kim Irvine. So yeah, comment down below. We look forward to reading all your comments, and we'll see you guys next week. And as always, have a great big beautiful tomorrow.
Bye-bye.